Welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melissa Caprio. Do you believe in magic? What if you were told that all you had to do was get a little creative and work a magic spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Here on Postcards to the Universe, we will share manifesting, tips, postcards, creativity, abundance, and prosperity. Here is your host, Melissa Caprio.
Everybody, and welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melissa, creating the life you crave. How's everybody doing? I have a very special guest today, Anne Jonas, who calls herself the Love Goddess, as my guest, and she is going to join me in a few minutes. Okay, so just a few things that I want to say. I am recording, if you're listening on the 9th of October, recording live. I'm from Florida. I'm in Southeast Florida. And luckily, we're just getting some outer bands and we're okay here. But for anybody listening, and for all my Florida people, my prayers are with you. Just think positive, send the hurricane some cooling energy so that when it officially makes landfall, because it hasn't officially made landfall yet, it will dissipate and it won't be as strong and the damage will be minimal, and put a little love and light around the state. We could certainly use it. We're not used to hurricanes here in Florida, but they're super scary. And now that we have social media, it's 24 hours. Like we just get bombarded with the news 24 hours, people texting, people sending pictures, people letting us know. And believe me, we know, we live here, we know what's happening and we know what to do. But just think of calm, cool energy going in the middle of the hurricane and dissipating it. That would be the best thing that you could do for us right now. So, anyway, I decided I still want to do my show. I really want to talk to Anne. She has some beautiful messages to share with us. And for those of you who are sitting around and listening, and this is a wonderful way to get our minds off of the craziness in the world, and we can talk about some positive and loving things today. So, to all my regulars, thank you so much for being here each week. And if you're new to tuning into my show, welcome. I hope you come back. Just so you know, we always put the show up on the archives, so you can listen to the shows anytime that you want. You can find those in Om Times Radio in the archive section, or you can find them on postcardstotheuniverse.com in the podcast section on my website. You can go back, you can look at all the shows and other guests that I've had on. They're all in the description. So please, I hope you keep coming back. And just to let you know, if you're listening for the first time, I'm an author, I'm a photographer, and I'm an artist. And I have a book titled Postcards to the Universe, Harness the Universe's Power and Manifest Your Dreams. And it's all about manifesting. I took photos of people sending me in manifesting postcards, which is kind of like a mini vision board. So, and then their stories became the reality. We shared it, so you can check that out. The book's on Barnes and Noble and Amazon.com. And I like to have people create manifesting postcards, and I love for them to send them to me. And if you're interested in doing that, I hope that you do. You can find my address on my website, or if you have any questions, just reach out to me. But I really want to get to my guest. So let me tell you a little bit about Anne Jonas. So, AKA, she is called the Love Messenger, and she is passionate about helping and supporting others to become more of who they truly are. She approaches her work from a holistic, intuitive, spiritual perspective with decades of experience as a body worker and a birth doula. Today, her most powerful gift is living as being of love and light, offering transformational or perspective guidance as a shamanic guide, intuitive healer, body worker, writer, speaker, and workshop facilitator. Anne's life journey has been that of the Lotus with plenty of mud. As she found her ground and stability from the depths of challenges that her life offered her, she stood up to meet and accept her path. She knows how to hold others where they are, living the truth of our mess is our message. I love that. encouraging and being a true witness and guide as she has learned to be for herself. She creates and holds space in a safe container. And Anne says, my desire is to support soul beings in the unveiling of the higher self and allowing spirit to bring abundant happiness and love. And you can find out more about her if you go to her website, which is www.thelotuspath.love. Welcome, Anne. Thanks so much for being here with me.
Oh, Melissa, I'm sitting here actually with tears in my eyes for a few reasons. One, what you're offering, what this container provides through your own desire, purpose, and passion for being, and how you bring people together under that container and energy. I'm honored to be here. And then secondarily, the day that was chosen, and that you and I have an opportunity to contribute energetically by holding space for what is. And that's essentially, it encapsulates who I have learned to be through my life's journey, as the mud, as the lotus, as all the things, as self, as divine, and that we co-create this existence with our desires and our intention as a spiritual being. And you know, that aspect of you spoke into, we know what's going on here. And how social media is like, everybody's incited energetically, positively, you know, or depending on the experience, maybe not so positively.
Right.
And, you know, for the last 24 hours, I mean, this is the first time I've seen quite the level of spiritual community standing up and showing imagery, literally showing how to magically move the hurricane, right? You know, this is a new thing. And so this is, yes, we can go. I'm so excited for what's left in our time together. That was the first thing I needed to say about, you know, what divine timing and synchronicity is everything.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. And I really wanted to continue when I looked at where I was, my location was with the storm. I said, everything I needed to do is done for my own safety, right? What am I going to do? Sit here and twiddle my thumbs? No, let's have this conversation. Let's, you know, as long as I can, I want to have this conversation. And it is true that you said that. And interestingly enough, a friend of mine is part of Joe Dispenza's group, and they did a mass healing yesterday, twice actually, on a Zoom call, and people from all over the world, over 1,000 people showed up on this call to send the storm calming energies, to dissipate it, to hold it. And I was saying to her, I don't think globally we're there yet collectively, but I do believe that there will be a time where all of us collectively will vibrate on such a level that we could end a storm in a second if we all collectively get together.
Well, to speak to that, everything is a ripple anyway, right? We are collectively creating this container. What you're speaking into is that energetic shift, which really is a dimensional shift.
Right.
In a way, right? You know, like that. But yet, right, there's beauty. This is so much of what I love to bring as love messenger. And I have to tell you, honey, I laughed. Your first introduction for me was the love goddess. Like, you'll have to listen when you go back to the recording. And I
called you a goddess and not a messenger. Oh my God, I did. Oh my God. You know what? I put it in my notes, and I put it in my notes as goddess. Oh my God. I love that I did that though, actually, because there's a reason there.
Well, there are reasons, and it brought some chuckles to me. But here's the thing. We are all God.
Right. You talk about that.
I'm putting a period on that, right? You know, like that is, we are, as part of our expression of existing, is because God desires to have this experience. And we are one with God. We experience God, and that's why God exists in that way, right? What's in our mind is what we see. Out of mind, out of sight. Yep. That's the opposite of what we normally think.
Yes, and more people are understanding that, I think, and that's why when certain catastrophic things happen, let's not be in fear. Let's not spread the fear, right? Let's go flip that and let's go for the light. Let's take the fear out of it as much as we can, obviously, because we're just perpetuating that energy is what we're doing. It's like, catching a cold, right? Everybody catches the fear. And so what we want to do is we want to catch the love. So let's spread more of the love. So more of us catch
the love
that.
messenger right here. That's my greatest dream. That all beings know love. Yes. I'm taking this one, Melissa. Yeah, we're going.
Take it.
Yes.
Take it. So Anne, how did you come into this? Because were you always very intuitive and kind of like open to all of this, or was it your life was in a different path and then you had sort of something happen and you shifted your perspective?
Yes, yes, and yes.
Okay.
Yes, because they're all true. But did I know that the truth in all of that until now? No, right? So everything is a culmination. And I'll have to tell you, so much of this is very current in the realm of the love messenger. Really, even has only existed since this year, like 2024. And if I go backwards and I'll say, 2 years ago, I started Sacred Connection, and that was because I made a proclamation, like, what am I doing? COVID wiped out my in-person life, and what's next? But I had 40 years of existing as somebody who had this awareness, let's say, and I've been self-employed doing body work and doula work and things. My work has been helping and supporting people and in this energetic realm for 25 years. What has come through recently is that everything I've been, and some of those things like made me go pause. Like, why is my life like that and not like everybody else's? Like, what's sort of the FOMO, the fear, like, what am I missing out on? And it took this whole coming together, I call it zhuzhing, the zhuzhing of everything, that has me say, oh, for me, my journey has been, I called myself a chameleon. Now I see it as a shapeshifter. And I've been here to be curious and to watch and listen and talk. I talk a lot. All the people in my life say, I'm very loquacious. The combination of talking and sharing and listening and taking in, I've been a lifetime learner. And then on top of that, there's been information coming from places where I wouldn't say I was fully conscious of. It was more of do that or don't do that, say this or touch there. It was like I was naturally intuitive, and people would say, oh, that's exactly what I need to hear. Or, oh, I feel so comfortable talking to you. Things like I became who I am by being who I was.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. It's interesting. I've always thought of myself as kind of a shapeshifter too. So it just the way that my life has has followed the path that I have, and how I've gotten into this kind of work that I'm doing now, which I would have never even imagined in my life's path, years ago. Like, never. I was always into woo woo, let's just call it woo woo, spiritual stuff. I always loved all that stuff, past life stuff, angels, fairies, mystical magic. Like, I was always attracted to that, but never thought that I would take this journey. And it's just amazing because I think you're right. I think I am experiencing myself of exactly where I'm supposed to be, exactly where I need to be, as you are, and as we are, and as we all are, right?
That's the magic of it. I mean, here's the thing. This is one of the hard things that I say, and that's people closest to me, people I work with, people in my community witness me doing this with myself and with them. We do hard things. We go in. You know that concept of don't sweat the small stuff? No, you need to sweat the small stuff. Sweat it out. If you don't sweat it, it's going to stay there and it's going to create something else. I'm all about going in, moving through, finding clarity, asking questions. Everything is here for you. Nothing happens to you.
Yeah, that's a hard one, especially if you're going through a lot and you're in a lot of pain and you have a lot of tragedy. You're thinking, are you joking? Like people are like, seriously, right? But I don't know if you can look at it until you're past it, until you've worked through it, until you're on the other side of it, that you can see maybe how it's been there. It was for you instead of to you. Because I know when I was going through stuff, if you would have said, "Oh, this is happening for you," I'd have been like, "Are you serious? Is this woman serious
So,
right now?"
so here's
you
the
know?
thing. So the people that know me know that if you're in the midst of tragedy, I am not going to come up to you and say, everything happens
Of
for a
course
reason.
not.
No. Yes.
Right.
But let me tell you, so you asked me, were there other things? I got a laundry list of dead people, okay?
Right.
In the
Yeah.
realm of, I have a story that, I want everybody to take a breath right now because this is a story that started basically like 40 years ago, if you will.
Okay.
44, actually, let's go with 44. 44 years ago when my parents got divorced, I was 11.
Okay.
25 years later, my dad showed up at my mother's doorstep. I was 36 now. And essentially, he shot and killed her.
I knew you were going to say that. I'm so sorry, but I heard it before you said it. Oh my God. That is
So
crazy.
thank you for your sorry. And this is something else I work with. First of all, we all have the tragedies that are serving for us. We don't compare tragedies. And I know this is a part of my life's experience, exploration, evolution. Those are the new 3 E's I'm going to write down. But this is that thing, listening to our life and what it's showing us. People say, you're so strong, Anne. And I say, for a long time, I didn't see that necessarily. And I feel like a lot of people don't really recognize themselves as who they are. We don't celebrate ourselves in this world, really, in this culture. We don't celebrate ourselves. We put stuff up on Facebook, but that's not truly a celebration. I'm speaking into that authentic, I did something great, especially as parents. So our kids see us proud of ourselves, because proud of me does not do anything to you. It doesn't make you better. It doesn't make you worse. Right? But we're afraid that if I say that I'm doing some of this, then you're going to think that I'm bragging. We have to bust that. It's important for us because when we see, there's a correlation. When we see our greatness, right? We stand in a place of empowerment. Then an experience happens, an event. We have a foundation. And that foundation then says, okay, I got this. This is some tough stuff right now. And I've got this based on me. And I know I'm great. This is definitely cutting edge stuff, people, right? This is like a next level self-love situation.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's where we're going. And is that what you mean by when you say that you're on the Lotus path, but there's plenty of mud? Is that what you mean? Having these kind of experiences of losing your mother in such a violent way by your father, and having to heal from that, and deal with that, because how could you not, right? Deal with that. It was in your existence. Is that what you mean by the Lotus Path? And tell people for who are like hearing this for the first time, like, what are they talking about?
Yeah, totally. Well, let's go first to Thich Nhat Hanh, no mud, no lotus. So I'm borrowing that, okay?
Okay.
And I'm also going to tell a story that kind of offshoots to another part of me. So back in 2003, so 21 years ago, I had a desire for a tattoo on my backside. And I wanted it to be spiritual in nature. And I thought, but I didn't know. And so I have a dear friend who's on a healing journey. I was sitting in her special healing room, and there was this stained glass window, just lines and imagery and color. And I'm sitting there and I hear lotus flower. And I thought, oh, awesome. And then I found this image, and it turned out to turn into like a pen pal of the artist, and I became pen pals for all these 20 years, got to use his image. And then it infused what my business names were: the Lotus Touch, which was the bodywork and doula work; the Lotus Coach, which became the Lotus Path, when I recognized we are all on a lotus path. The lotus exists because of the mud. That special flower blossoms out of the mud.
Right. And we all wanted the lotus, right? We all want the lotus without the mud. Nobody wants to go through the mud to get to the lotus. And it's true with everything, right? We all want the good without having the bad. And that is not this plane that we are existing on. That's not how it works.
I wish you could see me. I'm nodding with my mouth wide open, because that's the exact point, Melissa. Here's the thing. Yes, that's why I already said this, right? What is this thing I love to do? Go in, go through, move in, move through, be with. I like to ask 3 questions when we're in places that we get triggered. Where are my edges? You know, like, is there a boundary there? Do you feel safe? Or what are you learning about this? Like, that's the other piece. What am I learning? And how is this serving me? Life is a choice. It really is. I mean, from the get, like, from that understanding, like, I love the movie Soul, the Pixar. Every time I have I get a chance to, I revere them, because they're tapped into God as far as I'm concerned. The information that they share in these movies, which are and The Matrix, there's another one. Yeah. Like, these are movies that, like, people think they're fiction. Yeah. What's fiction? I was raised with Star Trek. You go to that holodeck, right? You know, plug in a code and you got a whole world that you get to dance in. You could die in that world on the holodeck.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I know, huh?
Yeah, it's wild. It really is, if you think about it. And I always think, like, so much of what we have, like just saying that you did with talking about fiction, is that we've manifested that because it was in somebody's imagination. Or the flip side about that is it was always there, and then we figured out a way to bring it forth. You know what I mean? Like, where does all this stuff come from? Both.
Yes,
it's both.
Yeah.
It's both. It's both. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. So people say, what's 3D? What's 5D? And, that's a whole other conversation. But I will say one thing that I believe is something that you can take away from this. And 5D represents and. 3D is but. Okay? It's inclusive. 3D is exclusive. These are 2 pieces: love, fear. There's a 3rd piece. That's it. This is a basic essence of what a 5th dimensional and beyond experience would be. And it feels in somewhat of the opposite of how people see this life. this is school. This is Earth school. We are here to learn. And that means we're also all here to teach, which references what we've already spoken into. Everything is vibration and energy, and everything you be, think, and feel is because of what you're taking in, right? That's a choice, okay? Back to the energy boundaries. And how about the 4 agreements? I love the 4 agreements. Don Miguel Ruiz, my buddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Toltec
I love
wisdom.
it too. Yeah. I've had him on my show, actually. I had him on my show.
No. Oh my gosh, I have like celebrity envy.
And both of his sons. Yeah. Very, very, beautiful, beautiful soul. Yeah. So I always love the 4 agreements. It's interesting. I love what you said, though. I just need to say that again because it's so simple. 3D is but, 5D is and you can use it in like 3D would be, I love you, but you hurt me, so I'm cutting you out of my life and I never want to speak to you again. 5D,
and
I
that's
love
the 4
you.
agreements. Like, you hurt me, right? Like, you hurt me.
Right.
There's this is a tough one. It's a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole of recognizing that everything happens for you. So then you're like, okay, that person was not a nice person. I mean, here's another conversation about sacred contracts, right?
Yeah.
The understanding of you come into my life and be not nice to me at this time and be in this relationship. Are you sure? Yes, I do. Please shake my hand on it. Here I am being that person, right? Like, this is how deeply, profoundly we have an opportunity to be sovereign and take responsibility for our life. That's a tough one, right?
Yeah. And I you know what? I really want to talk that. I'm glad you mentioned that because that sacred contract thing very much helped me after my divorce. And I want to talk about that more, but I don't know if I told you because we got on so quick, but we do take a commercial break. So let's take our commercial break here. We'll be back in just like 2 minutes. So everybody stay tuned and we'll be back.
Conscious media for conscious minds. Om Times. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on Om Times Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free, ascendinghearts.com.
Hi, I'm Melissa Caprio from Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave. Do you believe in magic? What if I told you all you had to do was get a little creative and work a dream spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Well, guess what? I've got the spell for you. Postcards to the Universe, a global movement for manifestation, is a casting magical tool for you to use whenever you want. How does living in passion sound to you? Join me in my movement where you get to create in the magical playground. Let's think outside the box and do some playful conjuring. By casting out our desires with a manifesting postcard, we explore our hearts and allow the alchemy of our dreams to appear. And don't forget to tune in each week here on Om Times Radio with my show, Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I share tips on creativity, abundance, and prosperity, and you will be introduced to the coolest guests, trailblazers, mystics, and creatives who enrich our lives. welcome back. And if you're just joining me, I have Jonas with me today, who calls herself the love messenger, but slash goddess, really. She's a goddess. You have to.
Oh
There's a
my
reason I
goodness.
said it. And let's talk about sacred contracts because this is trippy and this is deep and this resonated with me so much. So I had a very significant and painful relationship with my ex, right? And so, of
Mhm.
course, in the beginning, I went through the whole why me? I'm a good person, right? And then
Mhm.
I think it was Carolyn Mace who
Mhm. Yep.
introduced me to the concept of sacred contracts. And I started listening. And I swear to you, that was such an aha moment hit over my head. Like, oh, that's why. Because how many people in your life have said that to you? Like, why did he do that? Why did she do that?
Mhm.
Why would he say that? Why would they do, you know, and
Mhm.
and and it's like, hello, sacred contract. I love
Yeah,
it.
I'll tell
I
you
love it.
why. I'll tell you why,
Mhm.
because we don't even ask why, right? Those are the other questions are the ones we ask. How is this for me? Yes. It's a
Mm-hmm.
tough one to speak into. Why would I choose that?
Right.
Dot,
Right.
dot, dot. And there's all kinds of that, from getting my house burned down, okay, or being in the path of a hurricane,
Hurricane. Mm-hmm.
okay, or being in a war torn country. We have a few of those on our
Right.
planet, right?
Yep.
What about being given up for adoption?
Mhm.
What about being raised by an abusive or, the millions of ways of being abused by a parent? There are a bazillion tragedies, traumas, and ways of being in relationship.
Mhm.
So you want to
Yeah.
say, like, we go, why? I'll give you an answer. Why? Because you chose Earth School to come here and learn.
Mhm.
So here's something very powerful. Let's talk about adoption right now.
Okay.
And for anybody
Okay.
out there, that's had an experience of this, I invite you to take a breath and feel into how this might be serving or if you've witnessed this. Let's say, and we can go to the movie Soul. Let's do this first with Soul because this is
Okay.
fun. So in Soul, there's these little eggs, right? Little eggs with arms and
Mhm.
legs, and they go to Soul. They go to Earth School. They're like going to learn about what it's like to go to Earth.
Right.
And they open this big hole in the ground. They all look down at this round Earth, and they look down and they can see what they want to be. And they're like, oh, I'm going to be that. And they're like, great. And they
Yeah.
go get in this line, and this line slap some interesting personalities on them so that they can then walk through life and remember what they decided they wanted to learn and be. Right? That's a
Yes.
game. That's a movie. That's an animated movie. Let's go
Right.
back to life that we're talking about, sacred contract. So here we are choosing this adoption and the person that, as the soul essence, as the expression of the divine, as a way to learn and evolve, says, this time I desire to come in and learn about self-love, like really learn about it, like learn about
Yeah.
it so much that like
Yeah.
it's my everything. So I need somebody to basically completely not love me from the get,
Yeah. Of course. Right.
right?
Yep.
So these are, if you want to ask why, go to, like, why did you choose that? Why did you make a sacred contract? Right?
Right.
Why did you decide that this was an evolutionary path for you this time? Go all the way back.
Yeah. 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 I say the same thing. If you chose as a theme in this life that you want to figure out and learn real forgiveness, I mean really get what forgiveness looks like, you are going to have a lot of experiences where you are betrayed, hurt, traumatized, maybe abused by many people until you
Mm.
master what forgiveness really looks like. Because, like
Yes.
we want forgiveness. We want to like forgive, but without anything to forgive for, right? Like, okay, I forgive you, but you didn't, we don't want the pain of what it caused to have to feel to learn forgiveness. You know, we want to like,
You,
oh, okay, abandonment. All right, well, if abandonment is your thing, well, yeah, but I don't ever want to be abandoned. Well, you have
you
to
can't.
get
You got to.
it
You have
doesn't
that.
go. You gotta
Yeah.
have the experience to grow from it, right? So
So
yeah,
here's the
exactly.
thing. So people that are stuck, let's just say that, okay,
Mhm.
it's a
Yeah.
word choice, in the third dimensional reality don't get this. If you're on this call right now, you get this somewhere. In
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
awareness, you
Yeah.
are having curiosity around what's bigger, right? Because we're back to that but.
Absolutely.
Everything's going to be a but. You hurt me, but. You did this, but. Blah, 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 right? When we go to and, we go, oh, where's my part?
Right.
Where am I involved in this? A trigger, when somebody triggers you, the only reason they trigger you is
Mhm.
because there's something in there that you are doing or not doing that you don't know about that you are doing that you should be doing. It's basically they are bringing a mirror and putting it in your face, and you do not like what you see. But it's not them.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
you.
They're your
Yeah.
teacher. That's why everybody is your That's why we're all teachers for each
Exactly.
other. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. It's so beautiful. When you choose to see
Mhm.
life this way, it is freedom.
Yeah. It really is. It really,
Yes.
it really is.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah, because
easy to
you're
get wrapped
sovereign.
back in. It's so easy to get wrapped back into the stories and the drama and all of that.
So here's the
Especially,
ticket. Here's the ticket,
yeah,
Melissa. And for everybody that's listening, take a breath.
yeah. Take a
I'm
breath. Take a step
serious.
back. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you don't even have to take a
yeah,
step back. Take a breath. That is a practical tool that everybody
yeah,
has and go, oh, right, that's the 3D. Use that. I do that still. I get in conversations
yeah,
with people and we're talking and I go, right, that's the
yeah,
3D story. Okay.
yeah,
I mean, I have to do that. Even though I'm
yeah,
sitting here we're talking about it, it's a practice. Living is a practice. It doesn't end when you leave
no,
the cushion situation. Like, having a meditation practice every day is lovely. It's a way that we listen. Prayer is
yes,
talking, meditation
hmm,
is listening. And there are a lot of ways to listen, meditative dishwashing, meditative
hmm,
driving, gardening. Nature has all kinds of ways to be meditative and in aligned being action, right?
yeah, yeah,
Being action. And
mm,
yes, this is the gift. Like these are so many of the simple tools of beingness that remind us of our greatness. We are God's expression. That is greatness.
yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think so. It was so interesting and I say this to some people, friends. I'm like, are you willing to consider another possibility other than what you think you know? Are you just willing
Well,
to
that's it.
consider it? Just,
What you think you
uh,
know. That's what you said. That's it,
yeah,
though. It's what you think you
yeah.
know.
What you
Hmm.
think you know. And then most people say, well, of course, because they don't want to say, well, no, I'm not willing. And I'm like, but are you really? Because you're so in your story. I'm offering you, from my perspective, maybe other options to that story. How willing are you to consider another option? And then
Yeah.
most people like don't know what to say. Well, but I know because, and then I know in my mind they're not willing at this moment, and that's
Because
okay.
that's a but.
Everybody's
There was a but
yeah,
in that, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
I know, but I
yeah,
know,
yeah.
but, right? I mean, yeah, it's a tough one to
It is. It is.
be aware of the fact. I mean, it's a fact. I don't know what are facts, science facts, what are facts? But there's a truth, there's an essence that
Mhm.
most people are very caught up in their story.
Yes.
And the
Yes.
story has their name attached and their
Yes.
general identities. The question is, who are you? Well, who am I?
Yes.
I am
Yeah.
that I am. I am energy, essence, and the expression of the divine. I choose to play as Ann Jonas, aka the Love Messenger, and I'm having a good time this lifetime. And I mean, but I got my dead parents, and then I was at my mom's funeral, and someone said to me, "How are you?" And that's a funny thing. I laugh at that, like to ask somebody that, and I'm like, well, it's not anything, horrible like my dad shot my mom or anything, but at least, both my parents are dead in the sense of that they went first, right? The order of things. I said, at least it's not my partner, the person I share my bed with. Now, those words still ring out because I wonder, why did I say that? I didn't even have a partner at the time. And fast forward 2 years later, I did meet my partner, who I married, and we have a child. She had a melanoma cancer journey, and she left the planet when our daughter was 2. So I saw the timeline. Like, I jumped into this future timeline and commented on a future possibility, and then it weirdly came into being. Now, it's like, did I magically manifest that? I mean, I love what you bring, Melissa. We are all magical manifestors. If everything we say, does it become? No. But sometimes, is it like a reverse deja vu? Like, did we say it because we knew it was coming? I mean, this is the magnitude of the spiral quantum field.
Yeah. And then you get really, then you go really deep down that rabbit hole.
I'll stop there.
Everything that we say it's a possibility. It opens up a possibility of manifesting, and then we individually manifest and we collectively manifest. And what we're seeing on the planet is a collective manifestation. And whether people want to acknowledge that or not, we are all manifesting what we are seeing and projecting on this earth right now collectively. Yeah,
exactly.
Right. And so if we want it to be different, then we need to transform all you need to do is work on yourself. If you want to change the world, work on yourself.
I'm capitalizing on that, honey. That's everything. That is, so God's work is being here
yourself.
to recognize that you are God. It's remembering, and yes, not a job. Your job is you. That's everything. That's the whole existence of being you, is to be here to work on you. And you said something about want. Let's play with want for a minute, because want, and as a magical manifester, this is a word that not you, you never say it again. You say no more want.
You say am. Yeah, I know. I tell people that too when they're creating a postcard. I'm like, don't say I want this. Say I have this. I am this. This is mine. Like in the you're declaring it in the affirmative. Yeah, I know.
I do.
Yes, I do.
So here's the other piece of that, though. I mean, that's the way, but let's go up but why? Because wanting actually, what is heard by your guides, the divine, all the magical manifestor elves,
is not having.
No, scarcity. So this is the other piece. What's the first thing that has to happen before manifestation? Gratitude.
Oh God, yes. I talk about that all the time. Gratitude is the biggest thing that I talk about all the time. For the most powerful tool to manifesting ever is gratitude for what you already have. And if it's only a mattress on a floor, but at least you have a roof over your head, be as grateful as possible for that little mattress with your one little pillow and your one little blanket on the floor right now to bring in more.
Well, another thing about that is comparison. There is no comparison. Remember, you chose your life, and so did they. Like, when you get to be here with you, have gratitude for you, you tell the divine, I love my life, and this is so great. Like, there can be more of this, right? But if it's, I don't love my life, I don't have the things I want these things, that place, they say, well, but you're doing your life. Like, that seems to be working for you, right? Because that's how you're doing it. So it's all about these deeper inner messages, inner work inner messages. You know, if you point your finger at somebody, you know, just look at your hand, everybody, right now. You make a little gun shape. Kind of looks like Florida, sort of, in a weird way. So, you know, you do that, and 3 fingers are pointed back at you.
Yeah.
3. So,
I
but
know.
here's the thing. But I'm also, it's important that we see something else here too. When you really feel that somebody out there is amazing and you love what they're doing, you love what they're being, you love who you are, maybe you even want to be like them. Guess what? You are them. Whatever you see in others is in you. You won't see their greatness if you don't have it within you. So we talk about triggers all the time. Some people, glimmers was going around Facebook not too long ago. So, you know, everything is a reflection, and that makes you fully accountable for your life in a powerful way.
Yes, absolutely. And I am a work in progress, and sometimes I'm better than others. You know, the good
Until you're
news
dead.
is
Like, it's like, here's the thing, you got the whole journey, and then you know, and then that's it for this round. The soul
for this
self,
round, right? This
exactly.
round.
The soul self encompasses this life. This is one powerful and amazing expression of your soul's continuous journey. And you know what? If you had a day where you just like loafed off for a year or a decade, whatever, right? Whatever. You know what? There's no wrong.
No, there isn't.
No
And
wrong.
I'm so glad you said that because I have and I say this to people and they look at me like crazy, like because I did made a decision in this life not to have children, right? And so many people, because being a woman who decided not to have children, oh my God, like what's wrong?
How dare you?
You know, how dare you, right? And I always say, what's the difference? I've had them before in other lives, and I'm sure in another life I'll have them again. I just chose in this one not to.
Yeah, you're like, I'm going childless. You know, I got a 13-year-old who I love and adore, who is my
look at me
mini-me.
like I'm crazy.
Yeah, no, I can see the freedom of a childless life now that I've got one, and I love my kid. This is I joke. I'm a comedian. I'm cracking you up. I can tell today, Melissa. But here's the thing: the real deal is we are here on our own journey, and we've called in every partner in every way that they are in relationship. And I'm sure there's people that you are mothering. Even though that they aren't, you didn't birth them. You know what I'm saying?
I'm mothering my whole family, my parents, my sisters, my sister's kids. I'm the mother of the whole family. Yes, they all come to me. So yes, there's definitely the mother energy. I want to just really quick. You said something, and it's such a truth that's so obvious. Is that if I can acknowledge that I chose this journey. I chose my experiences. I chose my relationships. I'm choosing my challenges. I'm choosing all of the gifts. I'm choosing it all. It's good for me to remember that other people are too, especially when we're seeing horrific tragedies happening on the planet to other people, right? And our heart breaks. And not that you shouldn't have compassion and empathy and all that stuff. I'm just saying, but sometimes you forget that every soul has chosen its own path and its own experiences. And that's a good thing to remember while you're also, feeling your feelings for what you see, of course. I mean,
I love that you talk about it that way, because it's funny. I have had this knowing that we choose our life for a very long time. It's been a part of my walking on the planet. And then what partnered with that, as I was, going through my 20s and 30s and 40s and seeing all the pain that people were experiencing. And I was like, I don't think I'm an empath. I'm like, I don't feel bad for people because they chose it. Okay, now that's kind of a not nice. There's a lot of other words to describe that, but that's a not nice way of seeing the world. And not but, right? Did you catch this?
Yeah.
And I understand that they are experiencing challenge, and I have empathy for that. And I have a boundary. So that's the other thing. My boundary says, I love you from here. I love I'm the love messenger. My greatest dream was that all beings know love. Now, there's a big dream for me because the love messenger, lots of people are going to know the love messenger. Like, that's the future timeline. But that my message is, you are love.
Right. Right. So, Anne, we only have like, so many minutes left in the show. Do you like work? Like, do you see clients one on one? Do you do groups? Like, if people are like resonating with, your energy and the way you're talking about this and want to know more, like how can they work with you?
Oh, yay. That's awesome. I love this
It's
question.
important. Well, it's important we talk about this when we're on the air.
It is. This is the thing. There's a
Yeah.
balance in life between not
Yeah.
talking all about this and
Mhm.
yet also making sure that we talk about this, because it's my
Right.
greatest joy to support people. How do I do
Mhm.
that? In lots of ways. So transformational and perspective guidance is the umbrella under the Lotus Path.love. You'll find everything
Okay.
that I am and be and offer there. I have a Sacred Connection community, and that is a membership community that's actually really getting reworked right now. And we're putting together a Kajabi. So in this now moment, this is a place where there's an evolution as a setting of an infrastructure. And the Love Messenger is YouTube. You can subscribe there. I do a once a month portal energy perspective guidance. Actually, I'm offering one tomorrow on 10/10. Those are live. And there is one-on-one. I live on the Idaho earth, and I am able to reach anybody through our virtual tools. I have the Sacred Connection webinars that run 3 times a year. Those are a 9-week journey of connecting with self and the divine, and other courses and books on the way. This is a growth and an evolution as we all are evolving together. It's my greatest joy to hold people where they are and remind them that there is a deep purpose for you to be here as love.
That's beautiful. I love that. Yeah, so you guys who are listening, if this is all resonating with you and you want to find out more and maybe join, be a part of the webinar or join her group, check it out on the Lotus Path.love. So, Anne, you said you have a 13-year-old daughter. Is that what you said? Daughter? Did you say
Yes,
daughter or child? I wasn't sure if you said
daughter. I do
daughter.
have a daughter, yeah.
So, what is your daughter? Interesting. I'm just curious. I have a 14-year-old niece, and the way this kid thinks, it just blows my mind at how intuitive she is and how like amazing and this generation is, right? Like,
Generation.
yeah. So, what does your daughter think about the work that you're doing and about what we talked about a little today?
I have to laugh. It's funny. I actually invited my aunt. I'm not sure if she's here. It's funny that you brought up Dr. Joe, because she's been following Dr. Joe for a while. So, life is full of synchronicity. But it's funny. She came to visit me about a month ago, and she says, it's so funny. This is like being with you and your mom. And it was like her sister, my mom, when I was a teenager, now with me and my daughter, and how these things repeat, right? And these, like, this is one of the greatest teachers of our life can be our children, and so are our parents. So I was so embarrassed by both my parents being the type of people that talk to everybody. You have to talk to everybody, all this thing. And like, you can't, like, for me, that's my greatest joy at the grocery store, like to go and talk to strangers and acknowledge people's light. It's my greatest joy to walk around and see people, and they will never know my name. This is this thing. So my daughter sees me and understands me. It was funny. There were some girls, we recently moved to Idaho from California and meeting some new friends, and I'll be brief, but she's like, they were talking about sneaking out, blah, blah, blah. And my daughter's like, no, we can't do that here. My mom knows things. So, like there's a conversation about, there was a show called The Good Witch. I don't know if you ever
I heard of it.
that.
I heard of it. Yeah, I know the show.
This mom and daughter live in Middleton. I live in Middleton. We live in Middleton, Idaho. Like, Life, which comes first, the movies or the life or the movies, right? I mean, this is, so she gets it. And yes, this generation, there's something else. They're ready for the next evolution. They're like a bridge generation. I see them,
I think so too.
I skipped the whole generation. I was 42 when she was born. I wasn't meant to birth a millennial. So it's kind of interesting. I'm a Gen Xer. And so it's funny how, again,
me too.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that in you, sister. Yeah. 80s all the way.
80s all the way, baby. Well, it has been so wonderful having you. Is there anything you want to leave us with real quick before we wrap up?
I'm going to leave you with this. I was asked this the other day. What would I be as a magnet on the Divine's refrigerator? So here it is. When you are here now, NOW, you've won, WON, and you are one, ONE, with everything.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. What a great way to wrap it up. All right, everybody, I'm wishing you guys well, and please stay safe. Thank you for listening to Postcards to the Universe with Melissa, creating the life you crave, and wishing everyone a wonderful week filled with joy, abundance, and love. Peace.